Check, 1, 2. We good? We on? Let's get this party started. 2022 was an interesting year for us. We got our first ever first place finish, which was absolutely amazing. And saying that, we had quite a few breakages, all being in the driveline. Engine-wise, the car was absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, at the end of the 2023 season, we had a wee mishap with the wall and ended up riding off our last chassis, which was a bit of a blessing in disguise, really, because we now have a chance to build a completely new car, and we can take everything that we learned and we did wrong from the last chassis, and we can improve it on this chassis, which is really exciting. And of course, I'm really lucky that I have Woz here now in the shop doing all the fab works. And Woz has a lot of experience when it comes to building cars. His FD-RX-7 he built by himself completely in his shop, and it is beautiful. So we'll be aiming to carry all of his experience over to this build that we're doing. And one thing that I'm very excited about with this build is my company, Two Step Garage, has decided to move into the BMW world and start developing parts for the E30, E36 and E46 chassis, which means we'll be developing and using a whole bunch of those parts on this car. We're not aiming to do anything groundbreaking or crazy with this build, but what we are going to be doing is just making sure that we're not cutting corners and doing everything as best we can on the build, and having pretty much what will be a pro level drift car in its simplest forms. But yeah, I guess without further ado, we should probably get this build started, so let's go. So here is a first look at our new shell, and you guys are probably looking at it going, dang, that thing's beat up and doesn't look like much. And that's correct, it doesn't look like much now, but in 6 weeks this thing is going to be a beautiful, fresh, new race car. As you can see, this thing's had a bit of a hit here, but the fundamentals of the car are very much there. The thing is nice and straight, which is fantastic. As you can see, the rear door handle's been cut out, but that doesn't matter to us because we'll be running our Fitment Labs 75mm, not 25mm, 75mm wide body over fenders. But one thing weird about these, this is a coupe over fender, and obviously this is a 4-door, but we're going to be doing some fun stuff with it where we pretty much are going to be deleting the line in the rear doors, so it's going to kind of look like a funky coupe, which is going to be really fun. I actually have to give a massive shout out to Nathan from Burnouts Unlimited, Nathan Makovic. So this is our friend Jason's old car. He tapped the corner of it on this side and then decided that he was going to reshell into a completely new car, which is crazy, but also good on him. That means that I got the shell, but Nathan drove this shell 3 hours and dropped it off here. He's such a gentleman. He also owns Burnouts Unlimited, and they're who Two Step Garage are collabing with to bring you guys all of the new BMW parts. So Nathan pretty much has designed a bunch of stuff, and you know, together we'll be selling it, which is going to be really exciting. So cannot wait to show you guys all that stuff. But a couple of good things about the shell is, first off, you'll see the rear guards are already done. So they're cut up, they're welded, they're seam sealed. It's a bit dirty at the moment because this car's been sitting in a field, but that's already done. So that is a big job ticked off the list, both sides, which is freaking fantastic. The car came with a couple of other goodies as well. So we have some slotted rotors. You probably can't see them too well in there, but we've got the front hubs. So we've got some slotted and drilled rotors here. The brakes have still got plenty of life left in them, so we're going to give them a good refresh. We've got brand new pads that are going to be going on them, which is fantastic. It also has, oh, you guys will see a wee treat there, but this is a Chase Bays Hydro. Didn't come with that, but it came with the plate already welded in the car. So again, that's another big job ticked off the list. So the car had some wee goodies. Other than that, as you can see, this thing is very much a bare shell, which is exactly what I was looking for, because I basically want to build this thing from the ground up. And we're going to be doing everything super nicely. So the interior, we're going to strip it completely, prep it all, we're going to prep the whole chassis, and then we're going to paint the interior, we're going to paint the engine bay, we're going to undercoat the wheel wells, and just make this thing pretty much like a nice brand new chassis. And then we're going to put all of our nice new parts onto it. So it's definitely, there's a long road from here to get to where we want to go. But a very exciting one, and we'll be working super hard for the next 6 weeks to get it done. Our M52 B25 motor is on the engine stand, so this is our motor from last year. Stock internals, 260 kilowatts. This thing absolutely hammers. It was in the car when we crashed, but the thing was still running, no worries. So we'll be basically tearing this down, giving it a mad refresh so everything looks brand new. Ceramic coating, our turbo manifold, and all of that. And pretty much putting that motor back into the car. We've got some brand new coilovers. We've got brand new lock kit, which will be a 2-step garage lock kit, which I'm very excited about. It's currently in production. So lots of things happening, which is cool. But the first phase of the whole thing is chassis prep. So we're going to start with the rear, and we're going to cut all of this out of the car. So we're cutting all the boot out. I cheated a little bit, and I cut all of the bar work that we did in the last E36 in the back of it out of the car. Again, that's going to save us some time. So it's still got all the parts, and it's basically ready to weld straight into our new chassis, but we're going to be modifying it a little bit just to improve it. But that's going to save us a lot of time because we won't have to build that. So basically we'll cut the whole rear end out of here, and then that'll bolt in. Long road ahead. But first things first, let's cut the boot out of this car. Let's go. Boom. That was so easy because I used a saber saw. And, well, is that what that's called? Saber saw? Daniel, is that what this is called? What's this called? Reciprocate. What does it say on it?
Liquid blade.
Whatever this is, I used it. The last couple of times I grinded like the boot off, my last couple of shells, and it sucked and took so long, and you get so much crap all over you. But using the reciprocating saw, if that's what it's called, made it an absolute breeze. And my God, that was so fun and easy, and the cut's like a way straighter. So now I'll just use a flappy disc to kind of smooth everything out, which is going to be freaking awesome. But the back is now off, which I'm pumped about. So you lose all that weight. We add a little bit more weight, just putting the bars in the back and stuff like that. But the reason we do this, we also cut a gap right here, which we will do at some point, and that allows, pretty much separates each quarter so that when you tap one quarter, it doesn't basically annihilate the other quarter, and then you can just pull it out. And then eventually, once it gets bad enough, you cut the corner off, and then cut the corner off another car, and you literally just bolt it on, and it's good to go, which is cool. So that's why we do that. Plus ease of access down to the diff, because when you have the stock wheel well in, basically you can't access the diff properly, and it's really hard to get the diff out. So if you have a problem at the track, it sucks. But today's really hot, so the boys are here. Yin's here. What's up, my dude? Oh, look at our big fan cranking. And Dan's here, and of course we're having a wee barbecue. We're gonna have a sesh on the drift cart as well if we can get it running, but at the moment we're just yeah, I'm gonna keep eating too. We're gonna refuel and we're gonna keep pushing on. Drop the subframe out next, which is gonna be cool, and then kind of move on to the next project, which is good. So keep on keeping on. Also, the 280ZX just looks freaking awesome at the moment, so I just love it. Woo. Alrighty, so we spent a little bit too much time on the drift cart, having some fun and eating good food and chilling out because it's a beautiful day. But now we're back working on the car. We're still going to continue on and get some stuff done. So we now, obviously we've got the boot out, and we're saving time with using our rear end from our previous car. And basically, if we can chuck it up, It just bolts up exactly how it bolted into the rear end of the other car. But when we cut it out, we obviously didn't cut the plates off the rear. So what we've got to do is we've got to make some plates and we've got to weld them up. And then we can weld this rear end on. Obviously we'll tidy everything up. We've got a wire brush down everything as well, so it's all nice bare metal. And then we can weld this rear end in. I'm gonna chop this off here at some point, and we'll weld in a nice like bent jacking point that sits a bit lower, because I found that this jacking point sit a little bit too high. But other than that, so the way we make these plates is we get cardboard, which is like here, and literally we press it into the hole so that it comes out with the shape, and then you cut around the shape, and once you do that, it should just line up nicely to be like perfectly the shape. And then we put that on some 4mm plate, cut it out into the shape, and go ahead and weld it on. So it's not rocket science, very simple, but time consuming, but these are the things we have to do for a really nice beautiful clean race car instead of the old car that we had, which was just full of mistakes. And still sick though, I loved it, but this one's just going to be spot on. So let's get it done. Yep. Alrighty, so in the end it's been a very productive evening. Rear end is tacked. We have the tube frame back in now. Well, tube frame, I guess you'd call it. Box rear end back in now. So still a lot of welding to do there, but you know, at the start of the night we had, or start of the day, we had a full boot. Now that's come together. So thank you, Yin. You're amazing, legend.
Thank you.
Mate, good times. Always good having mates coming out and helping you with cars. We're gonna come back tomorrow morning and we're gonna continue on with this. Cheers. See you then. So it's the next day, got my coffee. Today is supposed to be 45 degrees outside, so we're here nice and early, because even though it is already quite hot right now, it's like 8 AM, it's going to get much hotter today, so I'm trying to get as much work in as I can before we throw in the towel and go swimming and have a pool party. So right now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and finish welding in this rear end and make sure it's all complete. So handy being able to just throw this in here and not having to rebuild a whole nother rear end with all the bar work, because that takes a fair amount of time. Not sure if we showed you guys, but we've already hit out a lot of this damage here. Obviously our over fenders cover the damage anyway. Yeah, but right now we're gonna go ahead, let's do some freaking welding, get it done. It's literally so hot today. I ducked out and I bought this fan, and it's the best thing I've ever bought. It's an industrial fan, but it has this mist ring on it, so that we hook it up to the hose and then it blows the water and it cools you down, and it's actually so good. So on this half of the shop, like behind the fan, it's super hot, and then you walk this side of the fan, it's actually just significantly cooler just on this side of the shop. So good.
It's a great upgrade.
Well, you wouldn't really be able to do work on the cars today. It's too hot.
It's gonna be pretty nasty later on.
On the beers, son.
On the beers.
So good. But we'll stop a moment before we finalise the fab work on the rear of the car, and Woz is currently bending me up a nice jacking point out of, how thick is the tube?
He's gonna watch you bend it.
Am I bending it?
Yeah, give me the thing.
Alright, yeah, I'm doing the work. How thick's the tube?
This? It's 38mm CDF.
38mm CDF.
Roll cage tube.
Ah, okay, sweet. Alright, I'll bend it.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, pull. Keep going until the lever stops, yeah? And then you got to take another bite with the ratchet. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Crazy.
You're a fabricator. Off you go, mate. That's about right. That's about right. That's right. Look at it from the top.
Nice.
Yeah.
Looks good. Alright.
There's the thing. Ooshka.
Good?
Nice.
Lovely. Alright.
We left the angle wide so that it spreads the load right out to the widest point. So
yeah.
Your load comes down through that bar up there.
Yeah.
And then travels down through there. So
it looks way nicer as well having one of these on, I reckon.
yeah, it looks nice.
Sick. Alright.
Looks race.
temperature is 36 degrees at the moment. She's hot, but I'm slaving away, I'm getting stuff done. I think I'm gonna go swimming at Dan's pool later, so that's the motivation that I need right now to keep going, because sometimes you literally just want to sit down and do nothing in this heat. But basically, we're nearly at the point where the rear end is finished, which is awesome. So everything's welded in. Don't look too closely at some of the welds. I have done a pretty good job. I'd say I'm pretty happy with most of it. I didn't realize that I ran out of gas in the welder at one point, and I was like, why the frick is it not welding properly? And it was really frustrating me, and I kind of mucked up the top here, but nothing a flappy disc won't fix, which is sweet. And then of course we're gonna paint it, so that's all good. But what I wanted to tell you guys, just before I finish, is of course I dropped that. So because we are running a true coilover setup in this car, there's a lot of force going on these strut towers. And so it's recommended, I think it's just recommended anyway, to reinforce your strut towers. So I have reinforcement plates welded in up here. They're just these wee guys right here. I actually cut these out of the other car and recycled them. It just meant that I could get this job done now instead of waiting for them to arrive in the mail, and these ones are still good. So simply just go in on top there, you wire wheel underneath and just wire wheel everything off, so that's nice and easy to weld. That sits on top. I put a couple of nuts through, as you can see in this one. Nice and cold now. Just so that it's sitting in the right spot. Same size nuts. Why am I saying nuts? They're bolts. I put a couple of bolts through. Idiot Mike. Same size as what will be on our coilovers, just so I know it's sitting in the right place. Go ahead, weld on either side, and that is done. And then the last thing I'm going to do, we'll chop this bar off, chop our jacking bar up, and we're going to weld it all up, and then that is officially the rear end done. Then all I have to do is just clean it up. Obviously I'll wire wheel it and just make it all nice, and it's ready to paint, which is going to be fantastic. So we're making some awesome progress here, which I'm stoked about. Jacking bar is ready to weld, so I'm going to do the final welds around that. We've ground off all the paint on the bar above it as well, so that it's going to weld all super nice. So we'll get that done, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day. And just like that, our rear end is complete. So good. Absolutely pumped with that. Both strut tower reinforcements are done. New jacking point is done. It looks freaking gangster. So I'm really proud of that actually. It looks really cool, and the whole rear end's in. So that's a massive job out of the way, just straight up, which is freaking cool. I'm really enjoying the fab side of things, getting my hands dirty. Shout out to Woz for constantly teaching me new things and making sure that I'm doing good work and not crap work. The weld just leaves something to be desired for sure, but I realized I didn't even show you guys the interior of this car yet. So this is what it looks like at the moment. We've definitely got a job on our hands, but pretty much we'll be stripping the whole interior anyway and painting it, which is going to be cool. And then of course we'll be moving on to the front end in the next video. So basically we'll be cleaning this up, plating off any holes that don't need to be there, and then we'll be getting it ready, and we should be able to, I don't know when we'll be painting, but it must be hopefully sometime next week. So plenty of work to do, but I feel like we've made amazing progress with this, which is cool. Still need to rip out the subframe, didn't get that done today, but that's fine. I'll do that off camera so that next time you guys see me, hopefully the subframe is out in pieces. I probably won't film like doing the subframe bushes unless that's something you guys want to see, so feel free to jump in the comments and let me know. Also, if there's anything you want to see in depth in this build when I do it, please let me know in the comments. That's where we will pretty much wrap up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm so freaking stoked to be getting back into everything for 2023. Hopefully it's a big year for the YouTube channel. Obviously there's going to be a big focus on the E36, given that we'll be producing all this stuff for Two Step Garage, so we're going to be really pushing that. I don't know what that means for other car builds. Actually, I do know. We've still got to do the 280 final assembly, so we will be doing that. We also I've got plans for the Fevo. So for all the Fevo lovers watching, we've got some big things coming up for that, which is going to be really cool because I just absolutely love that car. So I feel like it needs a little bit more response. It needs a little bit more power. So we're going to be doing some tickling up things to that as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a rad summer. I appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. You know you want to. I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers, guys. Peace. Bye.